Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to do a demonstration on how to deploy a subchain for MOAC blockchain. First, let me go over the architecture of MOAC. As we all know that MOAC is the version 3.0 blockchain that has a main chain and subchains. The main chain has a consensus of POW, which means you will have to mine to the blocks. And the nodes that is used for the main chain is called V nodes. And the executables for the V nodes are called MOAC. And I'm going to do the demonstration on the MacBook. If this is Windows, it'll be moac.exe. And on the subchain, the consensus that we are going to demonstrate today is POS, but actually you can use all kinds of consensus that you can define. And the nodes for the subchain is called Smart Contract Server or SCS. And of course, the executables is called SCS Server or xcsserver.exe for Windows. The procedure of the demo today is that, first of all, I'm going to start a brand new MOAC main chain and run it on one vnode. And you can, of course, run this on multiple vnodes, but to simplify this for the sake of testing, we're going to demonstrate it on just one vnode. Second, we're going to start two SCS nodes. The reason we're going to show two SCS nodes is because we want to show how the two nodes will build blocks once the subchain is created. And then at this point, we want to just show you how to connect those two vnodes to the two SCN nodes to the vnodes. And the next two steps, we're going to demonstrate how to deploy contracts. One is called subchain protocol base, which will define the POS protocol. And then the second one is called subchain base that will be used to create the subchain. And then after that, we're going to call the functions on these contracts to start a subchain. Now let's go ahead and get started. First one of all, I want to show you the file structure of all the files that is needed for this demonstration. I think we can stop the video here. And we will have 4 folders that is needed for this process. One is MOAC vnode, which has the executables for the vnodes. And well, we also have, we're going to show you a brand new blockchain. So I'm going to delete some of the folders here to start it brand new. So we will have the MOAC executable here in the main nodes, and we have a testnet subfolder, which is the folder that will store all the blockchain information. And we have the Genesis JSON file here. And let's take a look. And the main thing that I want to show you is the chain ID is going to be unique. And we are going to use 2018 here. And then we will have 2 subchain nodes, which is the SCS nodes 1 and SCS nodes 2. And if I expand it, you will see they're very similar to each other. And again, I have used this before, so I'm going to clean this up so it'll be very straightforward. So for the subchain, you will have a config file. You have a user config.json. You should have a SCS server folder where you will have the SCS server executable. And if we open up the SCS config, user config JSON file, a couple things I want to point out is number 1, the vnode is using your local host and the port is 50062. That's the default. You don't have to change it. But if you do, you will have to change that on the vnode as well. And the vnode chain ID, like I showed you in the Genesis file on main chain, it's 2018. So we want to make sure it's 2018 here as well. And SCS node 2 should have exactly the same structure. So let me just clean up the files that we don't need. Those files will be generated once we started to testing. Okay. So make sure you have exactly the same folder structure for subchain node. So you have a node root folder, and then you have a config subfolder with the user config.json file. You have the SCS server and the SCS server executables. Test script has the 3 test scripts, JavaScript files that we need for this process. One is the deploy subchain protocol base file. Let's just open them all. So the subchain protocol base JSON file is a compiled Solidity file of the subchain protocol base, which you can download from the GitHub side from MOAC. And we just compiled it and make a JavaScript file so it could be easy to use. Same thing for the subchain base file. It is a compiled version of the Solidity file. And test script has all the functions that we want to use. And the main ones that we want to use will be register to pull, register open, and register close. Using these three functions, we will be able to create a subchain. All right, so let's close this. And of course, I have my cheat sheet file here that I will be using. All right, so in order to run this process, we will need one vnode, two SCS node, and we need a console for the main node. So that means we'll have to open up 4 terminals. All right, just now we talked about setting up a new main chain, MOAC chain. Now let's continue to start up the vnode and then the SCS nodes. Now I have 4 screens here. On the left-hand side, I need 2 screens for the vnode. This is the vnode, and this is the vnode console. And on the right-hand side, I have 2 consoles for the SCS servers. So let's go ahead and start them. I have a little cheat sheet here. Let's use this to start. First of all, we can use the MOAC init to initiate using the Genesis block. We can create the vnode. We have done that, so we're not going to do that anymore. And we are going to use create a MOAC vnodes by calling this. All right, so the vnodes has been created. And next we want to attach to it by doing MOAC attach. And then using this IPC file, we'll be able to connect to it. All right, and let's start mining to see how it looks. All right, it started mining. Now on the right-hand side, we want to start the SCS files. And the SCS files, first we need to get into the no such files. So let's see where it is. All right, so this is the right place where we should run the SCS node. So let's start the SCS nodes. All right, so the 2 nodes, the SCS nodes has been started. And if you look at the numbers here, this is actually the block number from the vnode. And we can find the corresponding number on the vnode side as well. Or we can do mc.block number 6591, 6592. That means the 2 SC nodes and the vnode has been connected. But that doesn't mean we have started the subchain. In order to do the subchain, we have to deploy the 2 contracts and then run a series of function calls to initiate the blockchain, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. All right, so first of all, we want to see the subchains are usually deployed by a DApp developer, and they want to deploy the subchain for somebody else's to use. So the person who's going to deploy the subchain protocol base and subchain base contract are all the developers. But in order to simplify the process, we want to use the main chain owner to do all the process. The main chain owner is the account for the main chain owner is mc.account0. And this is the one we're going to use for all the contract deployment. So let's unlock it. Actually, we can just copy it from here. Give it the passphrase. So it is unlocked. So the next thing I want to tell you is that we want to deploy a subchain protocol base. I have it saved here, so let's just do it this way. And we have to wait until this contract to be mined to move on, and it is already mined, and we got the address here. So we can move on to the next one to deploy the subchain base. All right, subchain base is already mined. Now the next thing we want to do is register the subchain into the subchain protocol base, meaning we want to put them into a pool where they can be available to be selected to create the subchain. So the function that we want to call to register the subchains to the protocol pool is stored in this script here. And in order to register the subchains into the protocol pool, we need to know the subchain ID. The ID is here. So we want to define that. So we want to define one as this one. And the second one is from here on the bottom. There we go. So we have those. And then we can do register to pool. All right, let's register the other one. Now here's a catch. After you register those SES servers into the protocol pool, you have to wait at least 50 blocks. Why? Because we don't want people to register like 1 million SES servers into the pool, and all at once they can do whatever they want to do. So we want them to wait 50 blocks. So let's see how many blocks they will have to wait for this process here. We can use subchain protocol base.scs list. And let's see, the first one will have to wait until block 6698. The second one will have to wait until 6699. So now, right now, we're at 6661. So it's going to take a while for us to be able to register those SES into an actual subchain. And meanwhile, we can monitor that the communication between the vNode and the subchains SES servers are healthy. The two SES servers, the message on the two SES servers are in sync, and the number is matching the one in the vNode. And we're about 25 blocks to go. In MOAC blockchain, it's about, we will have a new block in every 10 seconds. So in about 200 seconds, we will be able to register those SESs into a subchain. And meanwhile, let's take a look at the function that is used to call the subchain-based functions. So we have already triggered register pool where we are registering the SESs into the protocol pool. The next what we want to do is do a register open where the V node is going to send a notification to all the SES nodes in the pool to tell them, hey, it's ready to register. And then the V nodes will send a registration message to the V node to do the actual registration. That is the register open. So let's see if we already have reached, yes, we have reached 6699, which is the block that is required for the second SES nodes to work. So this is the time we can do register open. Well, since we passed the time, we'll have to unlock the account again. Register open, and a function call is sent to vnode, and vnode is sending 2 messages to 2 SES nodes to ask them to register. And by looking at the sign 1 here, that means the SES servers has received the message and they're sending back a registration information. Then the next thing we can do is do a register close. Register close means we close the registration, and by closing the registration, the subchain will start to work. And let's go ahead and do it. Register close. All right, looks like the registration has been closed, and the SES servers are starting to work as a chain, and they're creating blocks. And let's see if we can find some of the blocks. There we go. We have found block number 2. And here we have block number 3. Since we only have 2 SES servers, they will create blocks in turn. And that will create the subchain for the MOAC main chain. All right, that's it. Next time we'll tell you what we can do with the MOAC subchain. We can deploy a lot of dApps on the subchain to support a lot of this business functions. Thanks for watching.